In a world where two people do a podcast, friends, allies, cohorts, we now bring you the Mark and Andre podcast.
How's it going, everyone? I want to welcome you guys to the second installment. I want to welcome all you to the second installment of the Mark and Andre podcast. I'm again with my co-host, Andre Gaynor.
Hey, how's it going? Glad to be back.
We have a lot to cover, but let's first get the commercials out of the way. This podcast is brought to you by Game Swappers. Game Swappers. Buy, sell, and trade your retro consoles, your retro games, and retro everything. Say, young man, do you have retro games to give me?
Yes, I do.
Hey, I don't want them, but Game Swappers might. This is the part where you're like, hey, how can I come in contact with them?
How can I come in contact with you?
That's easy. You can do it through Instagram at Game Swappers, GAMESWAPPERS, or if you rather call them, you call them at 909-267-4270. Game Swappers. Buy, sell, and trade. All right, now we got the commercials out of the way. How are you today, by the way?
Good, man.
I forgot to ask you that.
I'm actually feeling good today. It's a pretty cool day.
Yeah, this is right after we watched this crazy Golden State Warriors game, which is probably one of the best games I've ever seen in a long time.
It's just an incredible display of shooting prowess.
Steph Curry is playing like a monster.
He scares me.
Yes.
He scares me quite a bit. This dude's a freak.
Yeah. Anyway, so that got me onto the topic of today. How about we talk about retro basketball games?
Oh, let's do it.
I know you are familiar with retro basketball games as I've played you in many of them.
Absolutely.
But let's get the first one out of the way. The one that I know I have put too many quarters in myself. But let's talk about NBA Jam. NBA Jam, Jam.
Shit.
Yes.
Ah, man. Okay. It's well, where do you want to start, man? It's. Let's see.
What console, or did you start playing in the arcade?
Arcades.
Okay.
And I distinctly remember it being at a Chuck E. Cheese.
At a Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, like when I was a kid, I think it was the first time I played it. It was at a Chuck E. Cheese somewhere, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing because I'm like, I mean, one of the big, the whole presentation of the box itself, was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing these guys do triple front flip corkscrews to dunk the ball.
With the flaming ball.
With the flaming ball.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have no clue what I'm seeing here. And I remember that was my first time playing it.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting it on Genesis. And lost my damn mind. I think it was TE. What was it? Tournament Edition?
Yeah.
Yeah. NBA Jam Tournament Edition. And oh my God. Countless hours have been wasted on that game. Yeah, to be honest. I
remember finding it myself on Super Nintendo when there was at one point where we were watching this NBA Jam session VHS that my brother Tommy found at a thrift store, and my grandma actually bought it for him. Basically, had a mini commercial of all the. Basically, a mini commercial of NBA Jam inside the VHS, and oh man, we were like, we got to get it. So our friend Ivan at the time had the Super Nintendo, but we went all the way to Rialto Coins. Rest in peace, Rialto Coins. By the way,
R.I.P.
They had it for like, I think it was I think he paid $5 for it, but it's still going rate $5 for the value. NBA Jam is totally worth $5, whether you like basketball games or not.
Oh yeah,
you will become a basketball fan after playing a couple games of NBA Jam. That is a promise. Right. That has the Mark Flores seal of approval.
Right. Wait, but don't. Okay, one of the number one things that like made NBA Jam distinct from all other basketball games at the time was its presentation. Like everything was so over the top and explosive.
Yes, exactly.
And I mean, even the announcer, from downtown,
ugly shot,
boom
shakalaka.
And the fact that you could shove dudes across the screen, and they didn't count a foul at all.
Yeah,
there were so many it was basically an action basketball game.
Yeah,
and it was
I'm glad the NBA, because the NBA was very close to not licensing that game.
Really?
Yeah, I saw a 2-minute clip on regarding the game, and it's this guy the developer of the game said that the NBA didn't want us to license it. The NBA didn't want to license it because it was just, you know, it was so, like how you were saying, so over the top, and the 2-on-2 style. I think that had something to do with it as well. But but after they sold it to the fact that they were all like, well, look, the NBA name is going to be all over this place. Mm-hmm. If you put it in arcades, it's going to be a guaranteed sell. After that, you know, to make a long story short, we're talking about NBA Jam in 2016.
We still play it.
Yeah. The dunks were awesome. I'm glad you pointed that out. But what teams did you use in the first NBA Jam? Because I remember I used the Utah Jazz. I was a Stockton Malone guy.
Honestly, I don't remember what team I picked.
Uh-huh.
I just remember at the time I didn't have an understanding of fundamentals of basketball and like stats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just went by the guy with the best dunks. Whatever team had two of the best dunkers. That's how I went. So I usually had really burly, tough guys that could dunk. So I was able to shove people and get the ball and then just do a triple front flip dunk and be on fire super quick. And then now that when we play it, like I see the stats and I'm like, I want a 3-point shooter.
We have a 3-point contest.
We're not even dunking. We just shoot.
It's all about the J's and the threes.
We're playing it all fundamentally, and it's not how you're supposed to play it.
At the buzzer! And then when you try to toss it, they just cut you off.
Like the ball could be at the tip of your finger. If it's still touching the flesh,
oh my god, I hate that.
It's over. They're not gonna count it.
That's like the most accurate too, because they'll know if you let it go, that means you barely came out on top.
Exactly.
You know. So yeah, I like NBA Jam a lot. I remember playing it at the arcade in Scandia.
Yeah,
I remember playing it there.
R.I.P. Scandia.
I know exactly. Well, no, it's still there.
It's still there, but it's just a barren wasteland with no one there.
That and all the other Inland Empire the Inland Empire theme parks, Castle Park, Scandia, Boomers. Well, Boomers is Montclair. That's LA County.
Yeah.
But man, those places are desolate. I remember they used to be cracking.
I know,
big time.
Pharaoh's Lost Kingdom.
I bet you I'm only dating a few of the listeners here, but there used to be a time where these places were
amazing,
pretty populated. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, NBA Live. Did you play any of the NBA Live games?
I did, because I was forced to.
Oh.
I mean, you know, when I spent time with my family, there was no other, like, I was the nerdy kid that played all these other kind of fun adventure games.
Yeah.
And puzzle games and Tetris and all that crap.
Yeah.
And then when I go visit friends or if I go to, like, my cousin's house or something like that, it's either Madden or NBA Live. Yeah. Nothing else. There's no other games.
Before 2K
Before 2K took over.
Yeah.
Because 2K was looked at, like...
It was secondary.
Yeah,
Sega
secondary.
Sports
it was like an
really,
arcade, but it was kind of arcade-ish. You know, it was like an arcade-style game. And NBA Live was very straightforward, and it was really about like the fundamentals and knowing your stats and how to play.
Yeah.
So, you know, my thing was I'd always just pick the team with the best stats, and I'd win as an amateur.
Yeah.
Where my cousins knew all the plays, they knew how to do full court presses and all this. I didn't know how to run plays. I didn't know how to do anything. I just knew that this team had the best stats.
I don't know how to run plays on the Super NES or the Genesis. Like you need to know a sequence of buttons. It's like always a double. Mm-hmm. Like where you need to press like up and A to access the the play menu, or you actually need the six button the Sega controller for that one,
right?
Or if you have just the regular dog bone SNES one, you'll have access to all those plays. But I was really more fond of the NBA Live 2003 and the 2004, just because that's when they started doing the trick stick, the analog
when they
started
using when they realized the analog stick was useful.
Man, oh my goodness, using pick and rolls, and that's the only one I knew was the pick and roll.
The pick and roll, I think it helped me learn sensitivity of the controller. Like when it came to shooting, remember you had to hold the button for a specific amount of time.
Yeah, at the top of the arch,
just right and all that. So like. I remember 99 distinctly, NBA Live 99, and then, going all the way up, to when they started to implement the C-stick and all that. Or not the C-stick, the right analog stick. But I like, I don't know, I really like the PlayStation 1 era of NBA Live.
Yeah.
For some reason. It looks like crap now, but I remember at the time, it was just so fun to watch. Like when my cousins were playing each other, and how they used to get so hyped over, like, just the dumbest things. And... as the years went along and we moved on to PS2, then we started to implement more crap. Then we started to get the dunk contest, the right analogs, like stick tricks.
Did you ever play any of the? Did you play Kobe Bryant in NBA Courtside?
Yes.
I remember playing
Yes,
that.
yes.
That was actually a good game for the Nintendo 64. A lot of my retro collecting aficionados don't really dabble in sports games, but with me, in older games, it's basketball, and I do have a copy. I am quite the Waylay tournament golf player for the Nintendo 64. Whoever wants the challenge, please bring it.
Would it bring it?
Yeah, I know some guys like, I'm a good player. Like, well, I'm like, damn, man, I didn't think I'd find someone there. I'm just trying to like alienate myself to one game. That way, I'm like the best at
so
it.
you're the best at it, so no one else can compete.
No one else can come up. But yeah, NBA Live is out. The NBA Live series was really it was a really good series. It dominated for a long time until the NBA 2K series really just went.
It refined what NBA Live did, and then they did it better.
Exactly.
And they kind of took away the arcade, that arcade nature of the game. Because when it first came out on Dreamcast, it was really arcadey. It was super fun, though. I liked it for what it was. But then, I don't know, out of nowhere, they just changed up their dynamic. They took everything from Live, made it better.
Yeah.
And they just made the game more engaging and fun. Which I don't know what they did differently. And now people laugh at NBA Live.
Yeah, I remember downloading 2K13 and 2K12. Just because I knew, I like playing basketball. I know quite a few things about basketball, but it's just funny because every time like someone misses a shot or like a player makes a shot, I'm like, he's not really supposed to do that. I get all real picky and particular about it especially when I lose. That's the only reason why.
It's scary now though because these games are getting so realistic. Like what happens? They're keeping up with the actual current seasons. So if a player gets injured, they're actually injured.
They're actually out of the game.
What the heck? Like
that's not fair. To be honest,
ridiculous.
It isn't. Yeah, it kind of today when I was out, the reason for the topic of conversation today, talking about NBA Live and all these basketball games. I was in the dollar bin at Game Swappers today. They had a dollar sale, and I was all up in that bargain bin trying to look for stuff. And I found NBA Live 2004. And I kind of wanted to get back into it, but the thing is like I would love to play. There's nothing wrong about that. But what's going to happen to me is when I start playing, I see these rosters of these guys that are no longer in the league, and like, oh, what happened to him? What happened to him? Then becomes the emotional attachment, and then comes the Google, then the Wikipedia searches, seeing where they are now, and then it just gets weird.
And calling the background investigators. And
asking where they're at. What Chili's does Sharif Abdul-Rahim work at? Or what adult league Jason Williams is at? Like all the has-beens. Or where Rafer Alston's at.
Oh, wow.
Skip to my Lou.
Tracking them all down to have one big basketball tournament, one last one.
Speaking of mad handles, let's go on to one game I know I played a lot. Both versions. I don't count the third one. NBA Street.
Oh!
EA big.
Oh, man. Okay. NBA Street was one of my personal addictions for some time because, if you guys don't know, me and Mark, we played basketball. Mark is a very fundamental baller, and I took the and one Globetrotter route. So I never practiced shooting. All I cared about was crossovers, getting the ball. Yeah, as long as I pass the ball, I don't care.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make the ball go between a dude's legs like 3 or 4 times just to make them fall. I'm pulling their shoelaces out. So all this like ridiculous over the top crossover stuff that meant nothing to the game. They brought it to life
beautifully. Yes.
But NBA Street to me was just NBA Jam mixed with NBA Live.
Yeah, and no, the best thing about it too is that they had ankle breakers. They had like you had no choice but to do them. Yeah, your ankle breakers, you needed to do them to actually be successful in this game because you need to rack up points to get the game breaker.
Right.
Which the game breaker is 2 points plus they take 1 point away from the opponent. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a certain.
And
they only went up to 21.
Yeah, first to 21.
That was cool. I like that.
And it was 3-man teams.
Yeah.
And it was like you really needed to know, like you had to have a big man, you had to have some type of shooter, and you had to have somebody with handles. Yeah. And if you had the perfect squad, you were unbeatable. But there were so many options. You had
Boots. Remember Boots?
Boots.
That guy. Well, he was just a
Biggie
dunker.
Littles or something like that. Didn't they have?
No. Biggie Littles.
It was something like that.
No,
Some little kid that had, like,
that was the
craziest
no. It
handles.
wasn't Boots. I don't think it was Boots. But the first guy was like he had Timberlands on.
Yeah,
he had Timberlands on. I remember that. And like
he like fatigue.
all he could do was like dunk on dudes, but he was short and he couldn't shoot.
But if you had the right big man, if a dude tried to dunk, like, you know, one of those outrageous dunks, you could just swat the guy out of the sky completely.
I was a big fan of Stretch, and Michael Jordan was on your team for the beginning until he at the end would challenge you.
He kills two of your best players, and he's like, all right, just me and you.
He's like, it's me now. It's me, MJ.
Then 3 shadow versions of himself float out the ground.
This is, and then it's just funny, too, that you mentioned it, because after this set the precedent for EA Big, because after this, EA Big did Tricky.
Yeah.
NFL Street.
Oh, my God.
FIFA Street.
Yeah.
NBA Street Volume 2.
Volume 2 is the best one.
Which is the best one.
It is the best one.
Best soundtrack.
Best soundtrack. Best announcer.
Oh, yeah,
like,
Bobito.
The announcer was ridiculous.
Yeah, Bobito Garcia.
Then just the gameplay overall, the classic characters with the classic basketball players with the current basketball players. Who
because you can unlock the classic basketball
and then
players.
You had custom characters you can make, and you had those characters that the game made for them, like, you know, Stretch and all those guys. Oh my God, that game was, man. Countless
you could play in the Rucker Park,
You could play in Rucker Park, and here's another thing: you could actually watch the moves. Like, you can go on into the options and actually look at the moves and how they're done. Yeah. So I would watch the moves and replicate them.
Okay.
Like,
so
the one where you roll
get
on
the crossover.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, how the hell
was
did
it
you do
real?
that
Was
one?
it like actual a real person doing it?
No, it was like
just
Stretch. It was just a
then...
CG Stretch doing the move. But I would watch that on loop and then just like practice it in the garage, take it out to the court.
Yeah.
Not make a shot, but still just cross everybody up in my path.
Yeah.
But oh my God, there was so much detail in that game. But yeah, EA Big, they had this crazy reign, and then something went wrong.
It was when they, I think,
Street Volume 3.
Yes, when on the GameCube version you can unlock Mario, which Mario and Luigi and Peach, and they didn't change the size of them at all.
No.
And here you are, a short Mario playing against like tall Shaquille O'Neal and like regular size dude. It just doesn't work
It was goofy.
Yeah, it
was kind of childish. But okay, wait, was Def Jam Fight for New York EA Big?
Def Jam Vendetta and then Fight for New York were both EA Big.
Vendetta was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go back though. SSX Tricky. Or just
SSX Tricky.
SSX in general.
No, to me it started with Tricky because that trailer. If you guys do not remember the trailer to SSX Tricky, let me just remind you how it is. Tricky, it's Tricky, and then all of a sudden you have this like blonde haired JP guy doing windmills on a snowboard. That's an automatic buy. That's why it was the greatest hits. I remember specifically, like, during when I started retro collecting earlier, I remember getting that game, and I didn't care if it was $7 complete. I had to get it because I knew that, you know, I was impatient, I'll tell you that. But, dude, the game to me was so pivotal for me because these tricks were so crazy, man. It's
absolutely.
like Homeboy, there's one guy, I think it was, dang it. It was like the guy Billy Zane.
The psycho dude, right?
Yeah, the psycho guy Billy Zane did the voice of. Oh, no, he didn't, because Billy Zane did the voice of the blonde guy in the turtleneck.
Oh, okay.
That's the guy. I forget who did that other guy, but he was crazy.
It's probably like David Arquette.
David Arquette was Eddie.
Oh,
okay. Eddie Afro.
Yeah, he was.
So this guy would get his snowboard and whip it around his neck like a helicopter.
And it would perfectly rotate around his throat.
Which is physically impossible. It was
called the guillotine.
Yeah.
And he would throw it perfectly around his throat, and it would rotate like 6 times, and he'll catch it and land back on the board and keep going. On top of the fact that you could still do backflips while the move is happening. And rotate somehow.
Oh, you can rotate the opposite direction,
right?
too,
It
after
ridiculous.
You rotate one.
It looks slow. Oh my God.
If you have SSX for the PS3, you know what? If you don't have SSX for the PS3, I recommend you do if you need to get your SSX Tricky fix, because it is almost dead on like SSX Tricky. Mm-hmm. The graphics are just amped up. I hope they make a PS4 version of it, because that might convince me to go next gen. I'm still with my PS3.
That's the 4th one, right?
That would be no. That would be because you're dealing with SSX3, and then add this SSX for the PS3, and theirs would be the fourth one.
Dang, okay.
That's crazy.
Dude, one note too, like, because we were just talking about the tricks, the races were fun.
Yeah, I forgot you had a race in the game.
Yeah, there's other things that happen in the game.
I forgot.
There's a reason you're playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tracks themselves were so creative, because I used to play like Cool Borders and 1080 snowboarding, and they were just kind of boring.
Because they were real.
Whereas
but this one was
SSX, they did not care. You would jump off if you jumped off a ramp, pyro would go off.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
You jump off of a mountain that's avalanching.
And Rozelle would be the one, like, Rozelle, like his remix of, he would be the one emceeing the whole track.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. EA Big had this weird thing. They had an infatuation with like hip hop, and they always blended it into their EA Big games at the beginning. Big shout out to EA Big.
I mean, I don't know if they're still in the mix. I don't think they are.
Nah, I don't think so, man.
No.
There's a... Dang. How many games did they put out, though? They had a Pixar run for a little bit, because every game they put out was gold.
Yeah.
At one point. Even there was this game called Freakstyle. It was basically SSX with motocross.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I know. Nobody really knows about the game.
That's kind of like how... That's Pure for the PS3. I remember Pure was good, too, but Pure was SSX for the snowboard. I mean, for the motocross. Mm-hmm. Well, I'd say the ATV, the four wheeler, which is still cool. Like doing like backflipping Supermans on an ATV. It's fucking dangerous,
and it makes no sense.
No,
gravity does not apply to EA Big.
Let's try to get back on topic here with basketball. But it was good to mention EA. I hope a lot of people found the SSX tricky to be something that they liked. How about, do you have any 90s to early 2000 NBA memories?
90s to early 2000 NBA memories.
Yes.
Jesus.
I don't have many myself.
I was gonna do you have one? You go, and then
I remember. Okay, so all right, I'm gonna count early 2000s as 2020, the millennium to 2005, and I'll go from there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I remember the 2003 NBA draft, where basically everyone, the who's who of everyone today has been drafted. That was Carmelo, that was Dwayne Wade, that was LeBron. Mm-hmm. Darko Milicic was the first pick, but he's nowhere to be found in the league anymore. This is where a lot of people. This is probably the most dense draft class of all time. Mm-hmm. This is probably the best first round of all time, because it's stacked with so many Hall of Famers, certified Hall of Famers already. I remember that. I remember LeBron James's first game. I remember watching that.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember I was over at my friend Justin's house, and I used to always go to his house to play Splinter Cell because I didn't have an Xbox. Yeah. But it was a good game. And I would go, and he was like, "Hey, man, LeBron James is going to play his first game today." I was like, "Oh, man, I want to watch that." So just to let you guys know, LeBron James' first bucket in the NBA was a make. So his first bucket he made. That was just nuts. He scored 25 points. I think he did 7 assists. I think either 7 rebounds or 4 assists, or 4 assists, 7 rebounds. Something like that. Mm. But 25 points is what I specifically remember. That's against the Sacramento Kings. I remember that. I remember when Vince Carter went nuts at the dunk contest. Oh my God. That was crazy. I do remember. Oh my gosh. I was just... physics was
freak
defied.
Of nature.
Yes. I remember when Jordan decided to come back to the Wizards. And this is because at 98, I was only 10 years old. Mm-hmm. So this is the last year that Jordan was playing. Mm-hmm. 97, 98. And I didn't really remember much. I remember Space Jam.
Yeah, everybody remembers Space Jam.
But I don't remember anything of Michael from the Bulls. Mm-hmm. I could say I did, but I only was what I read in the sports section before I went to the funnies, because I would read the funnies. For the people who don't know what the funnies is, it's this Sunday, every Sunday you'd get a newspaper filled with information instead of going on the internet. And you would, to get your shits and giggles, you would read this section called the funnies. And it'd be full of comic book strip characters like, I'm going to date myself here. I'm only 27. I'm going to date myself here. Marmaduke.
Garfield.
Hagar. Viking. Charlie Brown, the Peanuts Gang. Calvin and Hobbes.
Calvin and Hobbes. Loves Calvin and
Melvin.
Boondocks.
Boondocks 2. I mean, not the sequel, but yes, Boondocks as well. Yeah. Anyway, but yes. So I don't remember much of Michael. But I do remember when he went back to the Wizards, and to catch a couple games from him when he was playing was incredible. And I do remember the NBA Live that came out, which had him, and to see his overall was like 80.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell?
Fair. I remember that.
And you had to, it's rightfully so, just because he was, at that time, he had to be about 38. He was 38 when he came back. So yeah, it's fine. But I remember Afro Kobe, and that's where we got NBA Courtside from. I remember seeing documentaries about Jordan's last shot when he shot it against the Jazz in the 98 finals. That could have been the best career-ending shot I would have ever seen if he had not went to the Wizards.
Right. Because
you're looking at this guy, he won the Game 7 on the road in Utah against the Jazz. Oh, it was incredible. Have you, in comparison to vintage videos, and in comparison to the
vintage
games,
videos, like
old
timey
NBA, old
1920.
NBA. Oh yeah, Bob Cousy and fucking. You remember all the Bill Russell highlight tapes on YouTube? Yeah, the ones in black and white that no one has. You know what? No one has footage of Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game, so he could just be lying.
It didn't happen.
Well, he's holding a paper that says 100. And that's the only thing we got. Okay, so how much have you think? I mean, how much have you think? How much have you think the game has changed in comparison to what you saw early in your life, like with the Vince Carters, the T-Macs?
Okay, yeah. Well, just to inform everybody right now, I am not a massive basketball or NBA fan. Yeah. I was more of an underground, like I said, and one. So I wouldn't watch if there was an opportunity to check out an and one tournament and or game or video. I would go that way instead of watching an NBA game. But I do remember spending a lot of time watching older games when I was younger or whatever. Yeah. And I saw that there just seems to be this lack of heart. Like I see, like, when I watch the games nowadays, it just seems like all these dudes are divas. Every team has this one superstar. Yeah. And the way that it's marketed nowadays, it's like they just push. There's no teams. It's like the Los Angeles Kobe's, the Golden State Stephens, Stephen Curry's. You know what I mean? So when I look back, I feel like there were more players that actually cared about the game. Would stay with their team. They wouldn't just be so wishy-washy and bouncing between squads. And you would see more, like, I guess, heart and aggression. And the refs weren't so soft. Like, they call everything now.
You can't even, you know what? It's funny, too, because you can't even, say if you make your layup, if you make your layup and I'm behind you trailing, I can't catch the ball. Even if I'm on your team, I can't catch the ball.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. It's called a delay of, it's called like a delay of game or something. I got cheese. Okay, well, hey, everyone, welcome Tommy to interrupt my podcast. But what do you have? Cheese, you said? Cheese fries? Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah, just put them in the fridge. It's all right. You. This anyway, let's just go to our commercial break. This part of the segment, this Thomas interruption was brought to you by Game Swappers. Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade. We take your retro games, retro consoles, retro anything. Bring it on in. That's at Game Swappers, 909-267-4270. Game Swappers. You can catch them on Instagram at GAMESWAPPERS at Game Swappers. Okay, so back to where we were at, and man, those cheese fries sound good. All right, so but yeah, and I totally agree with you. It's funny too because now I notice nowadays is that you don't have to be huge. You don't have to be Shaq's size to be a center anymore. No, Dwight Howard's frame now, the 6'10", exactly, the 6'10" center is now like the ideal. You need to have a center that can at least run the court with you.
Right, but they want these slim dudes. I don't know. There's and these big guys can't even handle being down in the center. I'm saying shit like I know what I'm talking about, but from what I see is back in the day, centers were huge, and they were taking guys out. That was their purpose. Like, you don't get in the box.
You have to occupy the space.
Exactly. But these other guys, I don't know. I just don't see. The game doesn't look the same to me. The only thing that I see that still looks a little bit similar to the past is watching the Spurs. Yeah. When you watch the Spurs play, like, dude, they're so fundamental and they still carry that old style of play. I respect that and I like that a lot. But, I don't know. I recall watching games when I was younger and seeing, like, you know, a dude can get socked in the face and they wouldn't call a foul. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, there was more aggression, more heart in the play, but I feel like these guys today, they're overpaid, they're divas, and I don't feel anything when I watch them play, except for the game today. That was incredible. That was like the most incredible game I've seen in a long time.
That was a really good game.
That was a crazy back and forth.
I literally thought that the Golden State Warriors were going to lose that game.
Right. And I can't believe they won.
Yeah.
He's almost half court. And he doesn't
35 feet away from the bucket, and he just drains it like it's a regular
jumper. But there's no like pressure at all. He didn't look worried. He looked like he knew that he was going to make it.
That's just nuts. I don't understand that. Like, you know what, you got to commemorate Stephen Curry, because the MO about shooting a 3-pointer is that you have to be as close as you can be. Mm-hmm. You don't. It's shooting that far is it's not sensible.
Right.
It's not something
a
coach.
Move. Yeah, a coach.
It's not something a coach would tell you that. But he's making these shots, so it's not like this guy's missing 10 of them in a row. He's actually well above. He's in the 47 to 52%. You know, that's his hot zone.
Right. And it's wild to see this dude shoot with like as soon as he gets the ball, he's got 2 guys covering him and he still shoots.
Yeah.
With no pressure. Like he feels nothing. He just shoots and he makes it. I feel like one thing for sure though, these newer players are definitely far more athletic than they've ever been.
Yeah.
Science is keeping them
it's isometrics too, like isometric exercises too.
Right. So it's like they're using all the newest technology on these guys, and these are the best, strongest, fastest players.
There's a bunch of Ivan Dragos in the league now. They just take him to Russia real quick.
Bunch of scientists working around him,
so
him up. Now
that we're at the 30-minute mark, and that I would want to say that ends our little basketball segment. So for whoever enjoys basketball can really take that last segment to heart. But we're going to move on to the questions that we have on topic today. Andre, what remake would you like to see? If you had a choice, if you were a producer and you had a stacks of cash and you wanted to go to director, and you were telling Mr. Shyamalan, do this I'm just kidding. If Mr. So-and-so director, I want to do a reboot of said movie with who's going to be the star. Okay. A reboot and who's going to be the star to replace it, to replace the star of that.
Okay. I don't know. I think I'd like to see Martin Scorsese redo The Room.
Wow. The Room.
No, in all seriousness.
You're tearing me apart, Andre.
And Leo's in his role, still playing with the bad wig.
Leonardo DiCaprio as Tommy as Johnny. Wow.
Oh, hi, Mark. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh,
in all seriousness, I mean, let me think about that. I mean, by the way, he always drops... I don't know what these questions are going to be, so he drops them on me and I have to think about them. But if I could have a remake... I don't know. My opinion at the moment is we have too many remakes, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
It's kind of killing me to see how many remakes are being made. It's like Hollywood is just out of ideas, or they're afraid to try a new idea.
When they decided to do a Point Break reboot that had nothing to do with Point Break, that's when you know they screwed up a lot.
They really screwed up.
Yeah.
Let's see, man. Honestly, I want to see Face Off rebooted, man.
Oh man, that is a great...
But I still want John Woo to do it.
Oh yeah,
John Woo with maybe like...
Who would be the
Christopher Nolan? Let Christopher Nolan... Look at him, he's stupid.
Christopher Nolan directs the first half. He's the face in Face Off, and then off is John Woo. He directed I directed the face part of Face Off.
It's the first half of the movie is face, the other half is off.
Well,
so dope.
You know what? Like, imagine if they did it's funny too, because Christopher Nolan can give you that psychological thriller, that psychological rush, and then John
Psycho's
Woo
going back and forth
like imagine Inception with like no reload. Well, they didn't really reload, but no. Okay, scratch that. Imagine it super like action packed, like to the. Like everything blows up. It would be crazy.
Everyone leaping to the side, holding 2 pistols.
I think we'd be at a state of overwhelm. Like just all your senses would be overwhelmed.
But it wouldn't be as excessive as a Michael Bay film. It would be.
Yeah, that's just teetering on one side. That's all action.
There's not even characters.
Maybe there's even. Oh yeah, there's not even development.
There's just explosions. Yeah. From the credits all the way to the end. There's not even characters talking. It's just flames, explosions, people running. But.
Face Off, a reboot of
Face Off.
That would, and I never thought of that, but they don't reboot action movies.
They don't reboot action movies because I don't know. A lot of people feel like they're just kind of thin, But if you give Face Off like some depth, come on, like
you know what? They were really light on the science because they had to be at that time.
Right.
This was 98.
Right.
And you really what? Oh, we just lasered his face off, stuck it on him.
Yeah, so random
bada bing, bada boom. The heights are different, but that's fine. Their voices are different. Slap a voice box.
Just slap a voice box in there, he's fixed.
Yeah.
And
with the Super Mario boots.
Yeah. And that high-powered person that made no sense.
I'm gonna take his face off.
All right, homie. Like I want it to be more of a psychological game, a back and forth between two masterminds. We got a mastermind officer or detective.
Yeah.
We got this mastermind psychopath that's genius. I mean, these guys are both smart based on how the film puts it together.
Denzel
and Leo.
And Leo in Face Off.
Yeah, so wait a what?
Their skins are all different. I just remember that. Hold on.
In the most controversial world.
Oh my god.
That's literally blackface. Like, why would that happen?
Okay.
Why would anyone be convinced?
Well, then it's going to have to be
a little different.
Then it's going to have to be like Chris Pine. Oh, well, not Chris. Well, Chris Pine and Chris Pratt. Or
it has to be two Chris's.
Well, maybe.
Chris Rock.
Chris P and Chris P. Face Off.
No, in all seriousness, okay, like, let's see. If you can get, like, let's say, okay. Let's go with Johnny Depp.
Okay, all right.
And Bane.
Bane? Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Now, these are two phenomenal actors. Tom Hardy would be, he would be the cop character.
Okay.
And Johnny Depp would be the psychopath. Ridiculous character. I forgot their names.
Castor Troy.
Castor Troy. So have those two be in those roles, and then have them switch off because they're phenomenal actors. They have to switch and be the different personalities. I think you'd get some amazing performances.
That's a lot of range too, and both of them are definitely capable of that because Tom Hardy has played two different characters.
He has.
Yeah, so he's played.
He played his like
the
twins,
double
right?
impact.
Yeah.
The double impact.
He did double impact,
but a good one.
That.
With
better impact.
I know. Yeah. A more tolerable impact. What remake I would want to see, and I've been hearing a lot of stuff that Chris Pratt might do this role, and I don't think it's fitting of him because the way he looks isn't the role I'm thinking. Okay, so all right. When you think Indiana Jones, I know Harrison Ford would still like to think that it's him that's going to be Indiana Jones, but no. Father Time isn't going to let him do that. When you think Indiana Jones and you think of if you think of an actor that can play him, do you think Chris Pratt?
I don't think Chris Pratt at all.
Do you think? Okay, so
I would even see like, wow, no, I can't see Chris Pratt.
Really, exactly.
Wow.
But to tell me this, do you think Bradley Cooper?
I was just going to say Bradley Cooper, dog.
Okay,
Bradley Cooper would be a much better choice.
Exactly, and he looks indie. He looks like Indy.
Right.
Indy
he
is
can play that suave,
intellectual,
intellectual,
5 o'clock shadow,
adventurous playboy. Like
yes.
Oh man,
exactly.
That rebel personality that just
that's
gets
what
into
I thought.
Shit.
And for them to think that Chris Pratt's going to do this.
Well, I just think they're running off the hype of how he did in Jurassic World and
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
And it's
Hollywood, man.
Yeah, man.
The hell do you expect? But Bradley Cooper would have been much better choice.
I really, it's funny too because looking at Chris Pratt do this, like if he ever did this role, I don't think he would do it as justice as Bradley Cooper would. Because let's just it down to A and B, like a taste test or whatever. You look, I mean, Bradley Cooper's a way better actor than Chris Pratt is.
Phenomenal actor. Yeah. I mean, remember how he did in American
Silver Linings
Playbook, American Sniper.
The Crazy Boyfriend and Wedding Crashers.
Yeah. Phenomenal actor, man.
Yeah,
he really gets in. And, I mean, Indiana Jones doesn't require a phenomenal actor, but I think he could jump into the indie character much better than Chris Pratt. Why the fuck are they using Chris Pratt, man?
It's rumors anyway.
It's rumor?
But, I mean, I want to start a petition where it actually has Bradley Cooper.
To have Chris Pratt killed?
No, he still has. He's a good Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy. I want to see. Check this out, and I kind of thought of this a little while ago. Rumble in the Bronx with Tony Jaa.
No.
Yeah, and it's let's just start using Tony Jaa to do all of Jackie Chan's old movies. No. Mr. Nice Guy. Can you imagine that?
But he
Tony
doesn't
Jaa,
have...
Tony Jaa is a comedic.
Tony Jaa does... Yeah, he doesn't have the comedic chops of... Actually, stiff as Tony Jaa. He's so fucking serious.
Yeah. I've never seen him smile.
He's so stoic. Like, that wouldn't work. And then I was thinking maybe Donnie Yen, but Donnie Yen isn't as acrobatic. He's older, too. And he's not as acrobatic and he's a phenomenal fighter and performer. But
good actor, too, when he
there's no comedic... kung fu or martial artist master actor that's out there right now that can do what Jackie used to do.
Everyone else is all serious now.
They're so serious.
Jason Statham's serious. Scott Adkins, the Ukrainian Ben Affleck. He's always serious. Everyone in the Expendables except Dolph Lundgren because he sounds like he's drinking all the time. Everyone else is serious in that movie.
And then who do we have? As far as martial artists are concerned, we don't really have much of a palette to go off of. Everybody's kind of wrapping it up.
I don't think anyone's looking for... that ended in the mid-90s.
It's done, though.
Yeah, because remember, back in the 90s, you had... Well, in the late 80s to mid-90s, you had a slew... You had the action version of the Avengers.
Right.
Which was, you had Stallone, Seagal, Van Damme, Jackie Chan,
Jet Li.
Jet Li he started in '98.
He started a little late in the game, but he definitely showed up
with
just in time.
Was it the Long Kiss Goodbye?
The Long Kiss Goodnight.
The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Wait,
okay.
The Long Kiss Goodnight is that's a totally different. Yeah, that's not the right
totally
movie.
Different movie. Jeez,
that is not. That's the Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, him. Okay, so and then Bruce Willis.
Right.
I forgot Bruce Willis, and then I think I mentioned Steven Seagal too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had all those guys, and those guys did their thing for a long time, and it was. And then they met up again in the Avengers action movie and the Expendables.
And then they cashed out on that. They should have just stopped after the first, to be honest.
Well, you needed Van Damme in the second one.
And the third one didn't happen. Third one was like GT to Dragon Ball.
I know, they even brought Antonio Banderas in it.
Because he did Desperado, that's it.
Yeah, and then, did you ever, you know what? You haven't seen Assassins yet.
No.
You'll probably have to spend a day to watch it with me, but it's funny because they really play on Antonio Banderas' stereotype of him being Spanish. His name is Miguel Bain.
No.
In the movie, Miguel Bain, no lie. And then the other guy, Sylvester Stallone's character, his name is Robert Rath, and they're both assassins, Rath and Bane. You believe that? Okay, yeah,
that's that.
Who wrote that and said, "You know what? This is gonna work. This is gonna slide right through people.
No one's even gonna notice.
No one's gonna get it at the end. Come on,
it's gonna be a big plot twist.
I know. Okay, so all that action stuff's done now, but so those are the kind of remakes I want to see. I want to see someone try to do any of Jackie Chan. Imagine they redo Rush Hour with Brandon T. Jackson.
No,
wait, there's not even a young Asian.
There's not
martial arts because Tony Jaa isn't young anymore. He was young. Ung Bak was almost 10. Really?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he looks young. I mean, he's old.
So he was in his 30s when he started Ung Bak.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no comparison. You can't find another Jackie Chan.
Yeah,
Brandon T. Jackson, I'll just slap you.
No. Lottery Ticket was good.
Wow. No, just get Kevin Hart.
Bow Wow.
Get Bow Wow and
some... Who's...
the dude from Walking Dead. There you go.
Oh, God. Frank... was it Rick Grimes? That's his main character name, though. All right, anyway. What is the funniest conspiracy theory you've heard this year? Or this or last year? Because we're still early in this year.
Michelle Obama's a man.
Michelle Obama is a man.
Michelle Obama is a man.
Yeah, I remember you showed me the link to that. I was
telling him about it. I think I showed him a video or something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, so basically the conspiracy is that Michelle Obama is in fact Michael Obama, and she is actually a male, and then there's a couple of videos that goes into depth on why this woman that's supposed to be our first lady is actually a male. They start to explain scientifically or biologically that a certain head size has adjacent to your shoulders equals this if you're a woman. A head size adjacent to your shoulders equals this if you're a man. The way her neck, her or him, the neck is elongated compared to other women. Then they showed her stature compared to women she stood next to.
She has big shoulders
she's
too,
like
and
bulky.
she's really. Oh yeah, I didn't show you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's this video that one of our friends posted up, and it's her actually doing football drills. She is in her mid 40s.
Yeah.
And she's still doing like these athletic things. This first lady is probably the most impactful first lady of all time.
Right.
Because Nancy Reagan wouldn't do that, or Barbara Bush wouldn't.
Shit. Like she's one of the most active first ladies for sure. But I don't know. I guess I don't know how I slipped onto this one, but after watching it, watching these multiple videos, I was kind of like...
Her brow line's pretty high.
But there's a lot of things that they explain. Like, you'll see her with a lot of necklaces, or she has a lot of... If she's going to wear an open-chested dress or blouse or anything like that, she's wearing necklaces to cover certain aspects of her chest because it's so... broad and masculine.
Yes.
And then her arms are toned like a guy's.
Yes.
Like, she might not be lifting weights, but there's nothing you can do because the tone of the arms.
Yeah, she can see her triceps.
Way. Right.
Her triceps are really toned
like,
after
buff,
that.
homie, but like...
buff, dog.
But, I mean, I can't really... I'm not going to follow the conspiracy, but it's just an interesting one. And I remember just laughing at it the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
And then I watched more and I was like, hold up, this shit is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's true, guys, but I definitely peeped that. And that was one of the funniest ones I had observed. Wait, no, there's actually another one that was actually pretty ridiculous too. Some claim that Dave Chappelle, he just recently came back, right?
Came back to what?
Dave Chappelle returned.
He's doing comedy. Yeah,
no, he's returned to show business entirely. Like he's like on a late night saying, "Yeah, I never left. I never quit." Like all kinds of crazy stuff. So
you're talking to the biggest Dave Chappelle show fan.
Exactly, but he's like seriously on like saying this at late night shows. Like, yeah, I never quit. I just had to take some time off. Like, he's buffer. He looks different. In the
middle of his third season.
So some people claim that this Dave Chappelle is a clone.
Wow.
That he's a clone. That the original Dave Chappelle got
Dane
smoked.
Chappelle?
Fake Chappelle. Like, they actually think that this current Chappelle that's running around in show business doing these shows...
He looks more aged.
He looks different.
Yeah.
He looks really different. So some people are like, this is what Dave looked like before he left, and this is what Dave looks like now. And they're showing, like, different nose lines.
How would... They would have to age Dave Chappelle way longer than Dave Chappelle has been missing.
Exactly.
That's so stupid.
So I don't... that one I'm not fucking with. I don't really like that one. But I was... people will say anything. We have a platform for everyone. The internet is a place where everyone can express their opinion at any time. And I'm starting to see, like, some opinions are just ridiculous. Yeah, Dave Chappelle came back. I'm a little butthurt about it because it's like, you quit for a reason. Because you didn't want to sell out. But then you come back and say, oh, I never quit. Don't worry about that. Like, that was my problem. But people were like, no, that's not even the real Dave Chappelle. Like, they're in so much denial, they assume that he's a totally different being. So that was mine. What about you? Have you heard anything ridiculous recently?
Nah, you know what? I've heard stuff. But the thing is I've heard stuff about San Bernardino, but just because it's a local thing that we're dealing with, I'd rather not talk about it. But there's one...
There's two San Bernardino.
The sequel? Lost San Bernardino. No. The one I heard recently was there's one regarding... what was it? That there's a new Area 51. They call it Area 52. Awesome. But it's not located near the
Roswell.
Yeah, well, not Roswell either, but not even located near the other Area 51. They said that one's like a distraction.
It's a like, decoy area. 51?
If we weren't able to like get Google images off of that for a long time, there got to be something going on there. It's who cares if it's if it's backwards engineering, so what? If you're telling us you got alien technology, you found a big ship, and then reversed, backwards engineered everything
to make iPods,
to make iPods or even mass memory. Because I mean, look at. Remember how the megabytes, like the megabyte, the regular like SD cards. Remember that they were like 128 megabytes,
right? And now we have terabytes.
I have a 16 gig card like laying around, gigabytes. Right, it's going crazy now. I didn't think they'd ever get that size, but in a day in technology like that, it's scary. I've also heard the one about that the whole city of Newtown, Connecticut doesn't exist.
What?
Yes. That Newtown, Connecticut was just a fake town.
What?
Yeah. I've told you many times that if you look up Sandy Hook Elementary, that whole school's demolished.
Right.
It's done. Mm-hmm. Other schools exist even after a school shooting. Virginia Tech still there. Fort Hood, that fort from a military shooting still there. Mm-hmm. It's just weird, man. That whole place, that whole issue of Sandy Hook and everything. I know this is not as recent as I want it to be, but I just want to put my 2 cents out. So, like, that whole area is just so eerie to me.
It's a shady.
It's like Erie, Indiana. It's like watching Erie, Indiana on Fox.
Right,
it's like this whole place is just everything seemed too cookie cutter. Like everything was too convenient. Like, Adam Lanza ended up killing himself.
Right.
Oh no, didn't he die?
No, they changed the story 6 times as it was happening.
But that's like one of the most comedic ones because they can't even get their own story right.
They couldn't get the story right, but it didn't matter because the impact was still what it was because, hand quote, children were involved.
Yeah.
Children were somehow hurt, but not a single body has been seen. We have no graves. We have no evidence of these children being killed. And then they show pictures of kids like these kids were in the shooting and they died. And then you see those same kids in those pictures taking pictures with Obama like weeks later. And they don't come on now. Like
there's security cameras that no one's seen. Right. Supposedly.
Right. How do you have cameras inside the school and not a single second of footage?
I don't get it. Like, show at least a cut till the unfortunate happens.
Right.
So I can validate everything. Mm-hmm. I've never seen security footage.
Let me see a dude walk through the hall or something.
Let me see Adam Lanza walk through the hall.
Right.
Yeah. Her mom. Adam Lanza's a chick. You heard it here first. No.
That's the true conspiracy. But then they said there were multiple shooters. There were supposed to be two.
That's what they heard about San Bernardino too. Is that remember in the beginning it was like three shooters,
and then three Caucasian shooters.
To discern three from two is something totally different. You can go,
but they described outfits and everything. It was
can go from 2 to 1. You're able to discern 2 to 1.
Right.
You're able to discern 3 from 2.
Right.
For you to go from 3 to 2 people is something that
how do you even explain that?
I don't get it.
And they say 3 white males came in fatigues. Or not fatigues, but in military equipment. All black, and they had military-issued weapons. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, it's 2 Muslims.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Just because this topic hit homes, I don't want to delve... it hits a few people that listen to this podcast close. I don't want to delve into that, but we'll stop there. Let's go on to a lighter subject. Okay, so back on the subject. You were talking about The Room. The Room is a crappy movie. Let's talk about another crappy movie that I know me and you have ran through more than a couple of times. I've been to the house myself. I know that we tried to do a review on it, but it was pretty crappy. When I showed you, what do you think about the movie through and through? What do you think about Cool as Ice?
Well, if you want to go by the first time I watched it.
How about, all right, let's do the overall perspective. Because I know seeing it first time, we were just doing nothing but laughing.
I was in tears. Yes. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yes.
Oh, man. My personal new favorite thing is to find movies that are so bad they're amazing.
Yeah.
And, that is one of the films that holds the crown, man. It's probably top 10 for sure. I just don't understand who funded this and who wrote this.
This is when Vanilla Ice was hot.
Yeah, this was Vanilla Ice Vanilla Ice was at is peak, man.
Yeah, this is crazy. It's funny the irony of Vanilla Ice being scorching hot for Hollywood. This is fresh off of TMNT 2.
Right.
And this is right after Ice Ice Baby. We're talking I think 91 or 92, and he released Ice Ice Baby in 1990.
I think I love you.
Oh my god. And it's funny too because in middle school I actually dashed my eyebrows like him.
No.
And keep in mind this is I know. Keep in mind this is 1999 and this is 9 years after Vanilla Ice does this thing and I'm a decade late.
But still.
Talking about Word to Your Mother. I think I told 2 people that one time.
Oh god.
I was bullied a lot.
I judge you now.
Yeah.
I have to judge you different. I have to look at you.
I had the dashes in the eyebrows and I got I got clowned on, but then all the brothers later in high school would dash their eyebrows and man, you guys are jocking Vanilla Ice.
You were ahead of your time, dog.
Yeah, and I had a CD. CD, yeah. That was the first CD I got, was To the Extreme.
I remember there was a time where he still would bump the Vanilla Ice CD.
Yeah.
And it's actually not bad. Surprisingly,
he's a decent rapper.
He's a decent rapper. He's
not
corny
the
as
best.
Fuck.
You know, we're not toting him to high heaven. There's no sermon for Vanilla Ice as far as regard to good rappers.
No,
but in comparison to rappers we've heard lately, he's a good rapper. He's alright. He's alright. But okay,
the film
Cool as Ice was okay. This is when Vanilla Ice was hot. This movie is based on that one movie with James Dean in it. Wasn't it? Oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue. But whatever. Rebel Without a Cause.
What?
It's based on that, where this guy comes into a new town
and he just wrecks the shit and leaves.
Yeah, and so they make a movie based on this, and they think who better to do it than Vanilla Ice?
Vanilla Ice,
someone that's inexperienced at acting. This movie is terrible from the beginning to the end.
From the very beginning. I remember he put it on for me another time, and I wasn't paying attention. And the way it starts, it has this really dark, droning chord, like shit's about to go down. It's really drab. Yeah, it sounds like an action movie. It's really drab. It's a dark warehouse. I'm like, oh shit, we're about what? You put on a Van Damme flick or something? Like, what's about to go down?
Yeah.
And then the next thing you hear is, woo! And then a music video starts.
Yeah.
It's this jolly ass music video for what's the name of the song?
I think it's called Get Loose. Get
Loose.
Your body loose. Yeah, with was it Naomi Campbell?
Yeah,
she doesn't sing in it, but she's starring in it.
She's just there.
Oh yeah. So this whole movie just was.
It's an anomaly.
To make it short, Vanilla Ice comes into a town.
After the music video.
Yeah, after
the music video is canon, by the way. The music video is a part of
it's part of the storyline. Yeah.
They just party real quick, dance out like this music video, and then it's once the music video is over, they're like, all right, dog, cool, good seeing you, man, let's leave.
They didn't even have closure on it. They just left. After they got Homegirl's number. Yeah. So Vanilla Ice drives his motorcycle along with 3 other people to where this new small town, which was shot in Glendora, California. This whole oh my gosh, the whole plot. The motorcycle breaks down. They have to go across the street. Well, they have to go on this street and get their bikes fixed by some random guy.
Some random dude that has Roscoe. Like a Willy Wonka house.
Yeah, who had a really weird house. And
they don't explain any of this.
Oh yeah, but before that, he meets that girl that he wants to talk to.
Oh yeah, so he's riding his motorcycle with his friends, and he sees a female riding horseback. And he's like, "Aw, yeah." And he literally uses his motorcycle to jump over the fence and crash her,
drive in
front of her and make her horse fall and for her to crash. And then he tries to spit game, like after he does all this.
I know you're terribly injured and everything, but what's good?
Like, what? What is happening?
That's not too far off from what guys do nowadays, where they try to
spill
maneuver their car like in front of your car to holler at the chick.
We have been seeing that a lot lately, like just like dudes rolling up on females, holding them at gunpoint, like, "Hey, what's your name? What's your number? Can I get it?" And they usually it works out pretty well.
People got that from Don't Be a Menace.
Yeah. It's a really good method.
It's foolproof.
It's foolproof. Shotgun.
You don't have to even have ammo.
No.
Not that I've tried it.
I have. With much success.
All in all, this movie is full with one-liners. I mean, we have a podcast to do. We're not going to get a whole synopsis of this movie, but this movie is full of one-liners.
You have to watch it.
Drop that zero and get with the hero is one of the lines that Vanilla Ice says. He totally kind of breaks the fourth wall and lets you know that he is the hero of this. And I say that very lightly, hero of this movie. But yeah, Vanilla Ice, Cool as Ice. I have it on Laserdisc. It was really expensive.
It was worth it.
It was worth it.
It's just trust me. It is awful in the best ways.
Yes, if you have, I don't know, if you're able to download it or buy it or whatever, just watch it. It's
trust us, please.
It's funny. It's funny in a bad way.
Terrible movie.
Okay, what was your favorite gaming console growing up? Because I remember we talked about PCs yesterday.
I was definitely a Genesis kid for sure.
Yeah,
like I had. I was a spoiled little kid, man. So I had like all of the Genesis games.
Yeah.
But I might I don't know. It's between the Sega Genesis and the Dreamcast. as short-lived as the Dreamcast was, I don't know why.
It was a really good system.
It was an amazing system to me.
If it had the DVD player, we'd be talking about the Dreamcast.
Right. And it had a series of games that, I mean, it had Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which is to me one of the greatest fighting games ever. One of them. Not saying it's the greatest, but one of the greatest.
Still top tier.
Shenmue, as shitty as it looks now, for its time, it was not. There was nothing like it. Excuse me. There was nothing like it beforehand. Like, you know, the weather switching dynamics, the realistic hours.
You had to have a job.
You had to have a job. You had to talk to people. You had to like be very thorough in this game to find out who killed your dad.
Yeah.
Then there's just, man, I remember having so much freaking Dynamite Deca 2 or sorry,
Dynamite Cop. Yeah.
There's so many, like the games. There weren't a lot of games, but every game they had was gold.
They had good sports series too. That's when it, like
that's where 2K came from.
The 2K series, like the football 2K series, were pretty good.
You know, the first time seeing Sonic in 3D and all that. But I don't know, it's between that and Genesis, because Genesis is what got me kind of into video games as a whole.
They really, some ports, like a lot of people don't know, is
Streets of Rage.
Turtles in Time actually had a port out to the Genesis, which was called the Hyperstone Heist. That game is really good. It's short, very couple levels shorter than Turtles in Time. Turtles in Time takes a long time to beat.
Yeah,
like
I didn't realize.
You, it's not that long, but for a beat 'em up, it's like, man, this kind of drags, but in a good way. But the Hyperstone Heist is still a really good game. They have a good Castlevania Genesis game. Castlevania Bloodlines is really good.
Bloodlines is crazy.
Streets of Rage 2. We don't really need to say much about that because it's really good.
Everybody knows Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage 3 is the most impossible to beat game ever. I don't know anybody that's beaten it like without cheating.
The Sonic series.
Sonic
I remember watching Danny beat that. I don't know if I beat it or not, but I remember Danny. I remember watching. I remember watching Danny beat it a couple times. But the thing is, like, I didn't know that. I didn't care for the Chaos Emeralds.
I didn't either.
How, like what manual or what book did you find out to get them? Because they're not.
And
they're not in the instruction manual.
Yeah, no one tells you.
Yeah, this is the day and age where like the kid with like the internet would come in and give you this paper with the codes on it.
Right.
And then you take them home hoping they're right, or you copy them down, because this guy was such a civil servant. He either wrote them for you or he just gave you a copy of it to write down. So you better hope you write them all down right
correctly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I don't even started with that, man. But yeah, so the Sonic series was good on the Genesis. I mean, even let's take a look on my wall.
Yeah, we got NBA Jam for sure.
Did you ever play Virtual Bart?
Virtual Bart? Oh yeah.
Where you had to launch tomatoes,
yes,
the principal and all the people.
The Beavis and Butthead game. I mean, as like bad as it is now, I just remember that was
Bart's
a part
Nightmare
of
Bart's Nightmare in any iteration sucks. I really don't like it just because it's very difficult.
Of course,
and it's
it wasn't designed well.
The controls are very loose. Like, and I say that as like your forward direction will drag even after you let go. That's it.
That's ridiculous.
I recently got... What game did I recently get? Okay. I haven't played this game, but I got it when I went to Game Swappers the other day. I got Captain America and the Avengers.
Oh, dude. Yeah. This is a ridiculous beat 'em up.
Yeah.
It's actually really good for its time. I think it's a port of an arcade.
It's a port of the arcade game. Data East always had good... just good games in general. I don't remember them doing any more arcade ports. It's not to my knowledge. Okay, so...
Wait, what about you, though? Like, what was your system? Because I was Genesis, but I feel like Super Nintendo was probably the better system out of the two.
We had, in all order, it was like this. I had the Nintendo, and then I had the Sega Genesis. I remember playing Toy Story a lot on the Sega Genesis.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and Maximum Carnage. I begged my mom this is 96.
Oh, Maximum Carnage was dope.
Maximum Carnage was awesome. I like... I still know that theme song, man. Oh, anyway.
Lion King was a nightmare.
It's really good. Like, Maximum Carnage is a really good beat 'em up for that game. Like, for that whole... any port of it, really. Even on the Super NES. But the sound... The Genesis... The rock and roll... Like, the rock and roll genre really worked on the Genesis. Because the way
the sound card.
Yeah, exactly. The way the sound card produced it was just awesome to me. But Toy Story I remember playing.
Road Rage.
I wasn't a Road Rage guy.
Really?
No, I was. You know what? I don't even remember playing many race games. But I do remember playing Sonic. Streets of I remember going to my friend David's house and playing Streets of Rage.
Street Fighter.
Oh yeah, we had Street Fighter. Oh man, and then we had a baseball game. We had hardball. It was all right. No, this is the time when in early in the year, like MLB would never give licensing. It was really hard for professional sports to give licensing to any sports game. Mm-hmm. That's why you'd have basic team like Los Angeles, but they would mimic purple and yellow.
Exactly.
But you wouldn't have the same guys. I want to say my favorite console of all time. Oh man.
Oh shit. He's thinking really hard, guys.
Yeah, I'd say okay. I don't want to give dead air.
He's turning red.
The Nintendo 64.
Wow.
Yeah. At that point in time, it was really
unbelievable for what it was.
Yeah, watching Super Mario for
64.
the first time. The Super Smash Brothers series. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Fighting Force
was
good. Fighting Force 64. I really had a guilty pleasure playing Earthworm Jim 3D. It
really?
Sucked.
It's
but
bad,
I mean, it is really bad. But I suckered through it.
It is unbelievable.
I bared through it big time.
You smiled and played it at the same time,
yeah.
for long periods of time.
The guy who played Homer Simpson
Did
played the voice. Yeah, still
it doesn't justify the shittiness of.
I tried to make that. F-Zero X.
Oh, okay.
Oh
that was
man, the polygon graphics for that game.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need anything else. That's how the future is. Mm-hmm. It's a Nintendo 64, in the Nintendo 64 world, or even Star Fox. I can't believe I missed it.
It's
Star Fox 64.
It's easy to forget, you know. Killer Instinct Gold. I actually hated. I like the original. I like Killer Instinct 2 in the arcades. And the port was shit, but I still played it nonstop. Yeah. And then every time I got to the final boss, I didn't have a chance. I don't know what I can't hit him. I can't hit the fucking guy. It doesn't make any sense. Vigilante 8. Oh, I just saw the
Vigilante 8.
Vigilante 8 was basically like it was a very strange clone of Twisted Metal. Like it tried to be like Twisted Metal with its own little style, but it was average at best. But it was super cool.
I remember playing a lot of GoldenEye.
Everybody play. It's like,
but yeah, that's the thing. Is like everyone's talked about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you haven't played GoldenEye, I don't know what's wrong with you.
And it's too late. You can't play it now. Yeah. You had to have played GoldenEye in its prime for it to have its effect on you.
Banjo-Kazooie was a really long game. But you had to collect a lot of stuff.
But it made collecting fun, especially when you kept getting all those new power-ups and all that.
You know what game's really good for the Nintendo 64? Now that I'm a lot older, StarCraft 64.
What?
StarCraft 64.
I'll never play it.
Yeah, you only for those kind of games, the Command and Conquer type of games, you need cheats because it's not fun. It's not fun if you're building your city or whatever, and then you get invaded. Mm-hmm. What fun is that? You want to dominate.
Do you have time to strategize and formulate plans and
fight back? I don't. I'm a grown man. I don't have time for anything. I have time to do cheat codes.
I have time to go online and get the cheats.
So let's go on to the last question of the podcast here. Interstellar. What did you think about it?
I don't have enough. I have to gather because I love the film. I'll just start with that.
Okay.
I definitely love Interstellar. Interstellar. The first watch was very difficult to gauge the tone of what was going on, and
there's a lot to take.
Yeah, because you're like, okay, we're in this dystopian future where, and you don't know that you're in the future yet.
Yeah,
the story is telling you and giving you. It's not giving you specific details. You just have to figure it out as you're participating in the film. Mm-hmm. And then as time goes on, you're like, oh wow, the future is fucked.
Yeah,
and times are hard, and this family is going through shit. They don't have time to go through shit like this, dealing with rifts in gravity and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, we have NASA still exists, and there's an underground NASA, and then all of a sudden we have the interstellar story taking place from there. And I think one of the hardest hitting things of the film, and I believe Christopher Nolan talked about this, he was like, I wanted you guys to understand and gauge the whole concept of how time can be manipulated. Yeah. So what would make you feel something in this experience? His connection with his daughter.
You know what? Yeah, that's what it was. And I'm glad that
spoilers, by the way, if you
yeah, I was gonna let you know that there's gonna be spoilers. So if you haven't seen Interstellar, stay tuned for the next podcast. But if you guys seen it, come to the discussion. Yeah, you know what? I barely realized that this is the effects of time travel to a person that has a connection to the past.
Right.
Well, to someone that has no option to change the future, or
well, it's like he set an obligation to return in a timely manner.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. Oh my god. Now, okay.
I'll be right back.
A little piece of advice to anyone that hears this in advanced time. I don't know how you're going to get this data file, but do not promise anyone you're going to show up at a set amount of time when there's time travel at risk. That's just bad. That's like setting yourself up. You kind of like start an alternative timeline by doing that.
What sucks about McConaughey's character situation is the ship like shut down on the planet. The ship had a malfunction, and that little bit of time fucked everybody.
Yep.
How many years was 20?
20 years.
20 years. So when they get back on the ship, their buddy that was waiting for them
aged.
And prior to this happening, there was a scene with him. He was like, what's going on? You look nervous. He's like, I'm afraid that I might be trapped in here forever. Like, I don't like being confined in a ship.
Yeah.
And then shortly after, he gets stuck on the ship for 20 years.
I remember he said that.
And he's like, so I've studied everything I can about the black hole. Like, everything. I have, like, this dude lost his mind in the process.
20 years of studying studying something that has, like, it's finite.
Right.
To now.
Right.
I remember they did there's this recent article saying that they actually found gravitational waves inside a black hole. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
That's incredible.
But it's like so scratch that, but you've studied something that has, till now, with all your knowledge you have now, it has a beginning and an end.
Yeah.
There's nothing more to search. Like,
right. You've done everything.
Picture yourself in a room and you've looked at every crevice, at every spot, and you know where everything's at. Mm. And being there, and it's like 15 years left.
Yeah.
And you still have 15 years more to study. Like, that's what he did. And it's
and then he said, based on all the information I got, there's not much that
he's like the doctor on Action League now when he's all like, there's nothing I can do. That doctor sucked, man.
So, I guess, first of all, let's say, Christopher Nolan knows how to get great performance out of his actors. McConaughey killed it. To see his devastation of watching his daughter age, his son have children, get married, and not his father, but
was that his father?
That was his father.
Yeah,
his dad dying.
Yeah, because I remember they saying grandpa.
Grandpa died. His pops died, man. In the process, and watching his daughter like hate him, and like, you said you'd be back. Now
remember Michael Caine drops that bomb on the deathbed. He's all like,
I lied to you. I'm a liar.
Oh my God. I was like, Alfred, you bastard.
You can't even choke him. He's already dying.
Because in every Nolan flick, there's always Michael Caine.
Yeah, and he always has some kind of
I bet
monologue.
you, like, in a movie where Michael Caine wasn't, like, listed in it, I bet you he was in the background.
He was in the background.
Hey, if you see me, that's a hell of an Easter.
He's walking by.
But, that's just, he's a good actor.
He's a phenomenal actor. And McConaughey surprised the shit out of me.
McConaughey took it to, like, I always thought of Matthew McConaughey as like, he's always going to be in those like failure to launch movies where it's like in the movie Failure to Launch, he played like this bachelor guy,
right?
And I was like, this guy's going to be like in a bunch of weird ass movies, like Made in Manhattan,
right.
I was like, this guy is nowhere to go. All he got is the look,
right?
No,
and
hell no, Dallas Buyers Club, freaking Interstellar,
and even his quick role in
Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street, yeah. It just his presence was very abundant. He was only there for a small period of time, but his role was awesome, just to kickstart the movie.
One thing I recommend people to do if they don't know is that Interstellar requires you to have a little bit. You know what? You'll better have a better experience knowing a few things about time travel. Mm-hmm. So maybe,
and how black holes operate.
Yeah. Which was cool for me because I was like, okay, I somewhat get this. I didn't know everything about it,
right.
But there's a few things I knew. But I think you watching the Back to the Future trilogy and then watching this a couple weeks later, I think you'll be fine.
Just that's a prerequisite.
That's the only thing I can say because it's
Interstellar.
Because Back to the Future 2 covered the alternative timeline,
right, and
so. Not saying that there's alternative timelines in Interstellar. Mm-hmm. It was all linear, but it's just something that you got to be savvy and know what the hell they're talking about because talking about time dealing with space when you're outside of Earth is something that a lot of people don't get because, hell, we've all been on Earth.
Right.
You know,
we've never been off this planet.
Unless there's, someone listening to my podcast on Mars.
Well,
they're going to listen to it like 6 years later.
The great thing about this film is it plays with a lot of themes, though. There's a lot of complex themes. I guess, there's a lot of social issues and there's a lot of commentary in the film. So when you look at surprise Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot
to see
about
Matt
that.
Damon, appear. And his character is pretty complex in the fact that, like, he was a part of that first mission to seek out all these planets and send off the beacon.
He thought he was going to die.
But he was like, we all came here with an intention. Like, we knew that, we might have to just die.
That's what was
a part of the
crazy about
mission.
it. That whole crew.
But then he came to a realization that he did not want to die. Like, he could not accept.
This was his only chance.
This was but like he set off the beacon only because he was like, I thought I wouldn't care because I didn't have any attachments on Earth. Yeah. That's the whole point. You couldn't have attachments for that first mission, first group. You couldn't have attachments to people. You couldn't have friends or family. That's why they sent them off for these missions.
So this is what happens. Did Matt Damon realize that there was no room for him on that ship to come back?
Well, and Matt Damon, first of all, the only reason he set that beacon off was just to get somebody to come and get him. That's all it was about. Because he was there.
Oh yeah, okay.
He was there, and because
you're only supposed to set out that beacon only if
it's livable.
Oh yeah, and it comes with the big old spiel that it is and it isn't.
Yeah, so like, and then he even explains while he's pulling while he's suffocating McConaughey. Pretty much, he's like, I came out here with the knowledge and expectation that I might die, and I was okay with it because I had no ties back to Earth. But something happens in the human mind. And it's you want to live. The will to survive is stronger than any other thing that you can conjure up. Yep. So he said, I wanted to leave this planet, so I set off the beacon and I lied to you. Fuck it. And I'm going to kill all of you and go home.
That's just weird because I would figure he's like, hey, man, well, we're here. Can we just go?
Well,
I don't think there was room for him. I don't think.
No, he could have made it. I don't know. But here's the thing, though.
I don't know. Why would he do that? Well, he's crazy.
The theme... No, okay, but here's the theme, right? There was no... The confrontation of this entire film is humanity is destroying Earth, right?
Yep.
So when Matt Damon ends up on this planet, basically he becomes the villain of himself. He's destroying himself. Like, he wanted to leave this... Like, let me rephrase. Matt Damon came to this planet understanding his mission and being dedicated to that mission.
Yeah.
But his own will to live destroyed all of that and turned him into a fallacious liar and killer.
Yeah, so it made him. It
changed him.
Okay,
it made him into like a monster, and he even ended up killing himself out of ignorance.
Yeah,
because he wanted to leave so bad.
Too, man. That was awesome,
So,
dude. Seeing that in the theater, he's like, there comes a time of the boom. Oh no, the explosion is muted, which I thought was a good move.
Right,
I thought it was a
sound
really good move.
wise, right?
Oh my gosh, I was like, Nolan's a genius.
Right, and I remember when that happened, it just. Okay.
Because he tried to manually get the override going.
Right.
He really tried.
And there was a lot of tension in the scene of them trying to recalibrate and get the ship rested and all that. There was a lot of tension in these scenes. And a lot of themes. The old girl, I forgot her character, but her whole purpose in the mission was to find her husband or her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And they were saying that love can be felt beyond time and distance itself.
Yeah, that love
is quantifiable.
Quantifiable and transcends dimensions.
And I mean, that's incredible because when McConaughey goes into the black hole, the only reason he ended up in his daughter's room or the different iterations of his daughter's room was his love for her and that memory of that moment. Yeah. That's the only reason he ended up in this weird... The Tesseract.
And it's just crazy knowing all the signs he did and stuff.
Right. Like
classic Nolan, man.
Nolan is the man.
If you had imagine one like dumb movie that Christopher Nolan will flip. Like if you want a Christopher Nolan a film, which one would have been?
I told you Face Off, man. But let's see if I could think of like another film for him to really just turn around because he turned around the Batman franchise after those.
Yeah, Batman.
God awful.
Imagine him doing like John Q. Like I don't know how more twisted or like you would do John Q. Like imagine he gets the heart but then the heart doesn't work for him. He ends up like having heart attacks.
What?
Yeah, it just gets
having palpitations and discomfort.
Like the surgery was a success, but then he's all you see is like the little kid having having a heart attack, and then it ends credits.
What?
Ooh. I just Nolan John Q right now, where after the successful transplant of the heart surgery, Denzel's all clapping it up with like, remember he used to play baseball as a little kid?
Yeah.
And all you hear is the inside about it, and
he looks at his dad?
Oh, he looks at his dad, and he grabs his heart, and then he faints, and then cut. Oh, yeah, I just Nolan that.
What?
It's your turn now.
Damn, you got Nolan on the spot. I was thinking if Nolan, if he redid either Fight Club.
Oh yeah.
Or damn, it was on the tip of my tongue and I lost it.
Who's in it?
Seven.
Ooh yeah.
If Nolan redid Seven, like
who did Seven originally?
I actually it slips my mind.
Okay.
I know who did it. I just can't think of it at the moment. Too much pressure. Yeah. But Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman. John Cusack. No, that's not right.
John Cusack.
John Cusack.
Imagine like one of the 16 Candles gets. Oh no, man, John Cusack.
But Seven was a phenomenal film, and it played on the Seven Sins and a lot of these other complex themes. If you put that in Christopher Nolan's hands, he always takes it down to the science. Like he goes deep. Like Memento is so slept on, but they really wrote based on the experiences of somebody that has memory loss. So, and the film was completely backwards. Like, come on, give this dude a good film so he can like rewrite this joint and direct it. If he directed Seven all over again, I know he can match the tone and get good performances. I think he would do an excellent job.
What I really don't like though about him, and that's why I brought up John Q, is that he always leaves you with this like biggest tease.
Right.
Inception,
Interstellar too, right?
Oh yeah, because Anne Hathaway starts her little civilization. Mm-hmm. Dark Knight Rises, like we told you last time. The Prestige, they didn't. No, he closed off the Prestige because Michael Caine walks away at the end. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's a few movies that Christopher Nolan's done, but Inception I thought was the biggest tease. Yeah, to definitely. Me, I was like, "You bastard!"
It sparked controversy. It got people talking, and it got more people to watch the movie more than once.
Dude, yeah. Let's just I don't even want to go into Inception tonight, but nonetheless, still a good. This isn't the first nor the last time you're going to hear about Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan's talk about him, writer and artist.
We're big time fanboys. If we probably saw him chilling, I'd faint, and Andre would probably catch me.
Oh yeah, I'd catch him.
Well, we want to thank you guys for tuning into episode 2 of the Mark and Andre Show, where we covered sports, the '90s, conspiracies. And Christopher Nolan movies and video games. I feel that this show is the Neapolitan ice cream of podcasts. And by that, I mean it has all types of flavors. More than 3, but Neapolitan's the only thing I can recommend at this point or give an example of. But if you like more of the show, please do not hesitate to let me know what type of topics you need me to cover or anything else of that matter. If I didn't get to your topic tonight, I'll be sure to get to it on another podcast. I'm not going to promise the next one or another one, but nonetheless, this has been the Mark and Andre podcast, brought to you by Game Swappers. We wish you good night, Andre. Thank you for having yourself on the show. Have a good night.
Bye.
Later.